Why do intelligent people overthink socially? Do you ever ruminate on past conversations? Or imagine future scenarios in which they go very poorly? Overthinking in social situations, not being present, not being relaxed, not being able to enjoy and be in the actual moment, feeling a subtle disassociation with everything and not wanting to be there? Now, why? Well, it's obviously not a lack of intelligence, but it is a lack of understanding, acceptance, and ability to embody and live in the body, and understanding the underlying unconscious mechanisms that your body uses to create those overthinking scenarios and to create those physical symptoms that you have. Now, that probably doesn't make too much sense, but it will by the end of this video. But first, why should you listen to me, this random guy on the internet? Well, the transformation that you're trying to make to stop overthinking situations and get rid of social anxiety and be socially free and be able to enjoy shit, I've made that transformation. I've actually lived and made the transformation. Instead of being charismatic and extroverted from the start and just giving surface level crap advice, to be honest, I can actually tell you what's worked. It's taken years of trial and error to actually figure this shit out and to actually become socially free, up until the point where literally a few weeks ago, I went up to this cute girl at the beach and just connected with her. I had a lovely conversation with her without overthinking, without being dissociated, and then without ruminating on the conversation after. I was able to just be, enjoy, and connect with another human. It's so simple, yet it's such a simple luxury, but there are so many people who just can't get that simple luxury of just being able to go up to a stranger and just have a pleasant conversation and to not feel trapped up in here. Now, the main reason for overthinking is a survival mechanism at its very core. Our body runs on prehistoric programming. We've evolved for hundreds of millions of years, but we've only become culturalized in the last 1,000, and in our kind of society, 100, 200 years. We are not evolved to live in our current society, which has ramifications that are often unclear. Like a prehistoric programming, you know how in programming we have if statements. If X, then Y. We have underlying statements from our biology. We must be liked by our tribe, or that is equivocal to death. Because if we weren't liked by our tribe, if we weren't accepted, we would be out on our own, and our chances of survival is basically negligible at best. We thrived in the past when we were as a tribe, and so we have evolved in order to be a tribe. And if we get kicked out, this doesn't really suit us, and a few other mechanisms doesn't suit us as well. But we can change it so it doesn't affect us nearly as much as it currently does. And what this does is it creates conditional statements that we must follow. When we're younger, we're like sponges. We can't change our beliefs or our perception on the world. We just accept everything that is perceived to us. And if we have a situation in which our social acceptance is being threatened, that is going to come off as a genuine threat. And we're going to build conditional statements around how we act in the world based on that. What do I mean? If, say, you were made fun of in the classroom as a 7-year-old, you only know the classroom. You don't understand that there's a world around that there's perceptions and all this stuff. You just think, everyone's laughing at me, I'm going to die, I'm being rejected. This is terrifying. And you form beliefs about how you should be in the world because of that. Okay, when I spoke loudly and tried to make everyone laugh, I got rejected. Fucking don't do that again, because my identity and my survival is threatened when I do that. That is why some people can't speak up, feel like their throat's just being like jarred and they can't get the words out because they have a situation in the past in which this happens and their identity was tied to it. We react and shape ourselves to mold to the environment. We mold ourselves to the environment in order to survive. We humans are fucking adaptable. It's why we're like the number one species on Earth, because of our adaptability. But this can come at a price, which is what I'm explaining. Like, for me specifically, I grew up in a household where screaming was relatively normal and they ended up getting divorced. As a defense mechanism to this environment, I learned to be quiet, to not create trouble, and to not express how I'm feeling, because if I do, that's likely to lead to problems, to screaming, to being rejected, to death. And so this has become hard-baked into my personality, into how I act with the world, which has obviously led to, what do you think that has led to a personality being developed by? Lack of assertiveness, shyness, anxiety when trying to speak up in certain situations. If you received conditional love or friendship in the past, I can basically guarantee you have an if statement running in your mind. If X occurs, then Y will automatically be acted out in order to protect you. Or there was a certain situation in which you didn't feel safe. You will now act in a way to grab control, and so that doesn't happen. And the only thing our subconscious knows to control is how we behave in the world. So it creates those conditional statements that if in this certain situation I was made to feel crap, okay, how can I not be rejected? Okay, I cannot speak up. And this acts as a sort of universal rule that we must follow. That's why social anxiety feels like a strong compulsion, and that it feels like we can't make a difference or change anything. It just comes up. That's why. And all of this, don't demonize this process. This is good. This is helpful. This allows us to survive as a child. Like, imagine if we didn't have this. Imagine if we didn't adapt. The ramifications of that is ridiculous. While it served you as a child, does it serve you as an adult? Does this same program that once kept you safe currently keep you safe? Or is it running on prehistoric base programming that is just holding you back? I mean, it does serve a purpose. It helps us overthink. It helps us live a shitty life. Helps us not have good social connections and be accepted. It helps us there. Basically, as a defense mechanism, the situation in which you felt negative emotions, shame, and like you're going to be kicked out of the tribe, you then build conditional value statements in which I'm only valued, I'm only loved, I'm only accepted when I behave in this way. And what this does is it collapses our personality into what is acceptable. And it pushes parts of ourselves that naturally want to be expressed down into the depths of like your soul, basically. And having those repressed parts, those unacceptable parts, and integrating them, that is what brings a certain feeling of wholeness and the ability to be socially free because you are whole. Unrepressing and bringing back these parts that has been deemed unsafe and basically hurtful to have as a child, you have to bring them back up and accept them. For me, I fell in love with this girl and I got rejected from her. Now, as a result of this experience, I jumped to the conclusion and had the belief form that I am fundamentally unlovable. And this was a relatively strong feeling. Like before this event, I had an underlying feeling that maybe I'm unlovable. I don't feel too loved, but Like that belief was already slightly there. It was like 10% emotionally charged. After this one event of rejection, it was like 90% charged. Or another belief, and like these statements, I'm fundamentally unlovable, protects us. Because in circumstances such as I go to approach another girl and I get rejected. Getting rejected is painful. I don't want to. The body doesn't discriminate. The body doesn't want to experience those negative emotions again. So it generates that belief. I'm fundamentally unlovable. And now you don't have to interact or be in that same circumstance again. It won't let you. It's protecting you from being in that situation again. It's all protecting you. That's why it forms. It doesn't feel like it's protecting you, but its purpose is to predict that this circumstance made me feel like shit. It made my value feel horrid. I don't want this to happen again. As a defense mechanism, we're not going to allow that to happen. So subconsciously, when we get put in situations that are similar to that, we are going to act in order to not do that again. Our body's going to generate shame, overthinking, bullshit in order to get you not to act. And it has full control over you. It's going to mess with your mind, your thoughts. It's going to mess with your body, how safe you feel, how able you are to go out and interact with people. It's going to be able to mess with and affect everything. Because fundamentally, all we are is our beliefs about ourselves and the world. And if we believe that we can't do a certain thing, we're not going to do a certain thing. Or another statement I had was, if I wasn't self-improving, then I am just not valued. I am not worthy of love unless I'm self-improving. This was combined from like the general self-improvement industry, where if you're not self-improving or you're not getting better, you're not a high status man, you're not going to get a top quality girlfriend, you're made to feel basically worthless unless you're self-improving, unless you're doing shit, unless you're being productive. And having this conditional statement on your value, what do you think happens? Using your understanding of what I've told you before, what do you think happens? Now, how does this relate to overthinking and social anxiety? Well, overthinking is built on the premise that you're not currently loved, accepted, valued, that your value is conditional. It's built on that faulty premise. Now, when you realize that you are loved, you can be accepted, and you can accept all parts of yourself, that faulty premise just disappears. As a byproduct, as I guess the main reason, overthinking then disappears. Because overthinking, it's a protective mechanism. Now, there's nothing to defend because you're already whole. And the main way to, I guess, figure this out, I use ChatGPT. I got it to make quizzes and like somatic experiences where I would do visualizations and go back into my past and use my first instinctual answer. Like if I read the question, I feel fundamentally unlovable, I would get a emotional reaction to that. I would feel like it's true. That statement is true about me. I wouldn't logically like agree with that. I'd instinctively agree with that. Like I guess my subconscious agrees with that. You'll be able to, with work, you'll be able to differentiate your logical thinking and then what your body knows to be true. Because these are two different things. You can logically understand something. You can logically understand, oh, I don't want to care what people think. That's going to affect me and I don't want to do that. But your body on the other hand, your nervous system, that's a completely different story. That needs people's validation. It's protecting you. I didn't have to be accepted by the tribe. And all these unconscious mechanisms actually run your life. And you have to be able to tell and understand this. The best way to do this, journaling. Journaling is fucking awesome. sitting in a room by yourself, having a few questions, and actually taking the time to think about it, going back into your past, just trying to remember, or what triggers the hell out of me. Situations or people or anything that triggers the hell out of you. Don't run away from those circumstances. Treat it as growth. Treat it as, that's a signal. Okay, there's something around that. Like, I would always feel shame and shit around attractive women. That's not something to run away from. That's something to understand. Okay, I feel shame. Why? What's going on? What unconscious mechanisms are being relived, are being experienced right now? And by doing all this, this is how the core of social anxiety and overthinking and a bunch of other problems in your life gets removed. So, bro, this is so important and elevates your life so much by doing this shit. Take the effort to understand this. Rewatch this video so you understand it better. And learn more. Shadow work, the unconscious, defense mechanisms, the ego, belief structures, belief systems, and understanding yourself to an autistic level of, I guess, a degree of autisticness. That's what's going to be able to fix yourself, fix your life, fix your self-esteem, fix everything. And it takes time. It's not going to be a one-day thing. You do one meditation session or you do one journaling session and, oh, everything is fucking dandy now, mate. No, it doesn't work like that. It took, granted, if I was like, say, coaching someone and running them through a step-by-step process, it would take 2 to 3 months compared to my years. But again, it's still going to take months. It's still going to take time. So, yeah. Hope you've enjoyed. This has been a big paradigm shift for you. And, yeah. Have a good one, and bye-bye.